everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I wanted to do a tarot related video. I'm still going to do other types of videos, but I figured that I would talk about uh, my first tarot deck, and it's like a story time type of video because I can talk a lot in um, the videos. So I technically don't have the first deck here, so I'll talk about that. And there's also three decks, so I could have included a fourth one, but I don't have it. It's in my storage unit. And I am up at this time. It's like almost 3 o'clock. It's not uncommon for me, but for some reason, I just found out that um, one of my friends, she gets up really early to go to work, and um, I forgot how long the commute is for that area because it's like in the DC area, and it's like an hour. So she's up and then she's getting stuff together before she leaves. So I was surprised because I sent her like is it a meme? It didn't have, well, I think it's a meme. I sent a meme to her and she responded right away. So I was like surprised. I'm like, "You're up." And then she was like to me, "You're up." So um I'm here and it's a little random. But the deck that I'll show first is in here. So I hand sewn the I hand sewed this bag. I sewed this bag and um I'm happy that I still have some of them. So it's the first edition of the Dame Darcy. It was before the Gilded one, before and before um the one with a different cardstock, and some of the cards are different. I got this specific copy because I was on Etsy at the time, and there was an announcement on her Etsy shop, the Dame Darcy Etsy shop, that she found older copies in her storage unit, so she put them on the shop, and I bought a copy because um, I was like, it would be nice to have that deck again, and I don't use this copy. I still use the other copy, but I'm happy that I got it. So the original one came from my friend in high school, and her dad would travel. Um, he's he's in Ireland now, and then he would come back to visit, and she has family in one of the states, so he picked up the deck where this was locally sold and um, gave it to her, and then she gave it to me. So it was um, after a little after high school. Well, I guess it could have been during high school and then around immediately after. like immediately after high school where I was going out with somebody and um I it was a strange thing because I'm like non-denominational. I went to Catholic school it for most of my life in elementary and high school, and I don't know. It wasn't the specific reason why I went out with this person, but he was saying he was religious, and I think that's like one of the main things where I don't really see somebody for the religion that they are, um, because he did like really not good things, and it was just kind of a little surprising in a way, but not that surprising that it's like um just going to church consistently and then doing other stuff like it's hiding behind a religion in a way. So one day I was at his apartment complex in the parking lot, and he found this deck in the glove compartment, and then he was saying that we need to like get rid of the deck. So he threw it out in the dumpster. So that was the last I saw of the deck. And so some of the cards that are different. There's a couple of them. This one is one of the cards that are different. And it has, I feel like it's a little bit of a different card stock. This is a different card. It's been a while since I've seen this deck, but I could do a sample reading too of the decks. So years later, I asked for the Dame Darcy deck again because um, I did miss it. I did see a deck at Goodwill that I picked up and that I used for a while. I was like, um, not really using tarot that much at the time, but when I had it, I used it. And then I moved to New England, and then I really got back into it like a lot. And um, then I visited my parents in California. They were in California at the time, living in California at the time. And I asked for the Dame Darcy deck because I didn't know the name of it, but I was on Etsy and I looked up tarot decks, and it was like one of the first ones to pop up, and I was like, that's the deck. So I have it in another handmade bag. And this is like different. I feel like this one is more of a structured type of deck, and maybe it would be more worn if I used it, but I don't think it's that. This one just feels like one of the pedal type of decks. And I was really excited, and I remember watching Elle a lot, and she's not active anymore, but she still has her videos up, and she did a lot of like uh Norse, I believe Norse pagan type of videos, but then in general tarot videos. And I remember I was upstairs and I just had the downstairs TV blasting of with her talking about the cards, and I was just so into learning as much as I could, and I still learn to this day, and it's been a long time. So um I'll continue on with like showing the cards from this deck, and then it's a little like uh not as colored, like in this one is softer too, because if I do have an extra deck, um I end up using one of them until I don't use it. So that's part of the that was part of the journey. And in the beginning, when I first started getting decks, I actually enjoyed the process and I really connected to the ones that I got because I I remember now there's one of them that's like taped. I'm trying to think of like which animal chewed on it. I feel like it was one of the cats, if I'm not mistaken. I might be able to look back, but there's a lot of videos, and see what uh which of my pets ended up chewing on it, but it was definitely one of them. So um and I'll briefly say there were some legal things with this deck. Uh so I'm not really sure about it, but she still sells it. So I feel like there's some thing that happened with that. And this is the card that was chewed on. So some of the cards I have shown you in the other deck. I'm sorry. Um, and then I just wanted to include one of the main decks like towards the beginning. Sorry, did I say? I hope I said decks. But this is a Tarot of the She, and I use this as one of my main decks in the beginning. I bought it used, and Um, that's what I could afford. I was looking at the price and it says like 24 something, but it was cheaper than that. But then, like, now these days, I feel like they're more expensive for the ones that you find at the store. So I've seen other decks of hers in the store, of Emily Carding's decks, but and I have seen her um, book, but I've maybe this was because this it's been a while since this deck came out, so it comes with this book. I maybe have briefly read it, but this is the condition that my deck is in now. So it's trimmed. I trimmed the sides of it, and it looks like I trimmed like the top and bottom, and then I corner rounded it. Um, so I did edge it a couple of times because I think at first I did the black, and then it was really bold because the colors in this deck are really bold. So then I switched it, and sorry, my friend is telling me that they normally call because she wanted to have a snow day or like a delay in like when it snows. What is it? Like a 2 hour delay. It's been a while. Because they used to announce it on TV to say if we had a 2 hour delay. Um, I think you would get a phone call too, and she's saying that she would have gotten a phone call, and so she didn't get a phone call, so she's on her way to work. So, I'll show these cards. And it's just like a rarity because, like, I kind of cherish the times when I do get to talk to the close friends that I have because we're all on different time zones. Well, I'm on a different time zone. I feel like my other two friends, the main friends that I talk to, they're on the same time zone. But there's like keywords at the bottom of the deck too. And the minor arcana is renamed. And some of the major arcana is renamed from skimming through the deck. Sorry, I don't know if it's too bright to see. So I guess that's like the main part of the story. I don't really have much else to say, so I could start pulling out cards and give a sample of this stuff. I just did a reading for another friend because um, we're in the Ukrainian organization, mentoring organization together. So I did a reading for her. I just separate it sometimes, and sometimes I've done client readings in the past, and I still do them here and there. But maybe I'll use this deck still. Yeah, she's upset that she didn't get to that she didn't get her 2 hour delay. And I'll do the other deck. And then there's a couple of things going on because I have a change of plans for like I have an immigration lawyer that I'll be contacting. Well, I she got the notice that I was going to talk to her anyway because it's for Ukraine. Although I could go there without the visa if I'm going to be there for less than 3 months, but I feel like over time I'm gonna do the move. I'll see the place and I'll have a job secure before that. So it's gonna be a while, but at least I'll visit next year. Because a couple of people are like, well, if you're gonna be here, you could stay with me or you could stay with me. And I'm like, that is very not American. But thank you so much. I was not expecting everyone to like pitch in and be like, if you're gonna be here, you could stay with me. Um, because I was gonna visit at least for a while, and it'll be an interesting trip because I've never traveled by myself before. Eh, well, definitely not overseas. It's been a long time since I've traveled overseas. Sorry. I've I have been doing this for a little bit. Well, I've been reading, but I wasn't talking about well, I was reading, but more specifically, I was doing the other reading and then I decided to do this reading. I got up to do certain things and then I'm back here doing it. The first card that turned over was the Emperor, and that's the future card. So it does feel like kind of energy or something. It could either be like a person that's holding on to the energy, or it could be um, something that you started that's not finished yet. Like it's still in the works, um, or something that like is in the process that it's not finished yet. Because this is Emperor energy and it's linking to Aries, And I'm not saying it's like specifically in Aries, but just to say the signs. And then for a while, like my brain was just, it was reading, but I focused more on academic things. And I'm not saying, well, like when I was going back to, well, when I first got my real job and my foot through the door in the field that I wanted to go into, and then um, going back to college for a program, and now I'm continuing my education with another program. But that one is a little different, and I have more flexibility with that. So, and then right now I'm doing some presentations. I have to present something this weekend. So, it's going to be about caffeine, but I've been going on some detours, and there's like a lot of like a persevering energy. There's like one of the songs that came up in my head, oh, a couple of times, like you gotta have faith, that like not like a super religious song, but like I don't remember how it goes. I know like that part of the song where um but you gotta have faith. Uh it's one of those like pop songs. It's not like a religious song necessarily. I don't think it is, but I haven't looked at the background of it. So, um because there's like some heavy duty energy, even though this is minor arcana, I'm gonna jump from both of the decks, because both of the decks, because that's just what ended up happening. The Ten of Wands with the Great Task, and you could see that there's a lot of heavy lifting to do, because the fairy here is like the bridge between looking like either the two lands or even the two worlds, or like even protecting or um, moving things along. There just seems to be something that you're maybe in the process of, that it's part of the reason why this keeps going, in a way where it talks about like resilience of some sort. And it's a lot like I do feel like it just, even though the Nine of Wands depicts more of exhaustion, I'm still picking up that there's some type of exhaustion in it. But and even before that, you have the Six of Wands, and this one says no foe too great. So I feel like this symbolism is pretty close to the other symbolism in the traditional imagery. Not exactly what it is, but the feeling and kind of the imagery reminds you of what it would be. Um, so it does feel like there is something that maybe somebody had to go back to do something, like as I said with the Emperor being in the future, but still looking like it's linked to the past somehow. Like something just ends up coming back in that way. Um, so I don't know if you want to say whether it is or isn't a karmic thing, but that was the word that was coming to my mind, so I just said it. And Major Arcana, the World, and Major Arcana, the Star, are also in this reading. It was also in my other reading that I just posted, but There's something that's like a flame that keeps you going because in this card there's like a fairy holding a flame and then she's looking at it like in awe, like it's something maybe sacred or something that like keeps her going or keeps her alive or keeps her like motivated. There's like something like when she looks at this flame and it could be, I don't know, I said karmic and then but there's like the fire here. Um there's or it could be like I don't really use the terms like twin flame or karmic that much in my readings, but it could be something linked to that, or it could be something that just makes you motivated or concentrated because it could also be linked to Aquarius, and then there's the like a the fairy star or the septagram, and it it does feel like something might take time, and I'm thinking about the number seven. Then seven going back to six, it drops to six, and it goes back to the Emperor in the future. Even though it's major arcana, I'm kind of like putting all the numbers jumbled together, and then there's 10 too. So with 10, it just feels like the workload doesn't stop. There's something that is really heavy about it. Um, but in the present, it's the Two of Swords. And it could be something that you're not seeing or hearing or like sensing. Like there's some type of sensory thing that's like, first, I recently found out there's like sensory toys. I've never heard of sensory toys before, but like maybe it's just not catching, you know, because something that might be more obvious to somebody else, but maybe when you're in the situation, there's just like you're seeing it super up close that you're not seeing the bigger thing or not. There's like a perception thing that's like coming from the Two of Swords, and then the obstacle is like the Seven of Swords. So there could have been instances of like maybe a ghosting type of energy or like energy of like disappearance and then not knowing, but um continuing moving forward because maybe it's like movement of the energy, maybe there's still stuff to do. But that could add to the stress of the Ten of Wands too, because it's like this on top of that, on top of that, like you know, some days when you're working and you're in a good mood, and so like you're kind of like feeling it when you're in a good mood, even if you don't really feel like doing the job. But when you're not in a good mood, and maybe like when stuff's going on in the background, when you're like, I don't know, checking in the status every couple of seconds, or like getting trying to get news on something and nothing is really like happening, or you're like just in some type of not knowing, because the Seven of Swords is like a card where it sneaks away from you, and this could be like information or this could be like hidden agendas or things that like maybe if somebody didn't have like bad intentions, but if they didn't explain things or if they didn't um do the thing that like maybe was like the more obvious thing to do, because this one it seems like there's a little perception loss too. I hope I'm using the right word, because this person has an eye patch, and then how to overcome the obstacle is the Page of Pentacles, and then on top of that the overall energy is the Seven of Cups. So I'm really feeling like the grind is like real about this, and maybe something that, again, with not seeing something or not like sensing something. Sometimes it's not even like a seeing and believing, seeing is believing thing, but um, there's like a commitment thing that's going on because it kind of reminds me like with the Emperor of the, because this is a nautical themed deck, and like when the captain goes down with his or her ship, that's kind of like what I'm getting it at. Like, uh, something just isn't complete, or something is just like unfinished. Like, there's some type of unfinished business, and it was kind of funny. It was like, I don't know, like it's a kind of a comedy thing in Haunted Hotel where they're talking about one of the episodes was like, um, unfinished business, and I, because like in the episode, um, one of like her brother was stuck in the hotel, and this is like a different type of hotel where there's, I don't know, like maybe some thing that goes on there where the ghosts stay, where the ghosts stay, and he was stuck there, and then he was talking to his sister that was living, and she's like, oh, unfinished business is real, and they're like, yeah, and it, well, the brother was like, yeah, maybe they wanted to do something in their life or wanted to have some like um things to happen because of the reasoning for why they died in some way. So, it's kind of what I'm getting with this Emperor card. Like, there just seems like there's unfinished business, or there's something that's just like uh going on that is more continuous because with the, sorry about, I don't know, um the Page of Pentacles is, it kind of feels like a Earth student, you know? Well, it's Pentacles, so it can be linked to Earth, but like it just kind of reminds me of like maybe you are on this Earth, and hear me out, you just agreed to do something before stepping on Earth, or before like being on Earth and being born. And you were saying like maybe there is this round table and a bunch of other um beings were there and going through maybe the contract or the papers saying that like, it, when you're here you're gonna do this, and this is gonna happen, and this is what you'll learn in this life, and what you'll experience. There just seems to be like some type of thing that's linked to it that um that is a part of the Emperor, because the Emperor, there might be a weird, I don't want to say loss of motivation, but to keep going. Like maybe a lot of things went wrong when he was trying to fix his ship, or like on his journey, and maybe like a lot of people got sick or something when they were on his, when they were like sailing or what have you. There just seems to be like a setback, or like maybe if you were presenting something and things didn't go according to plan, and there was other things that like went on. So it could be like that type of situation, because the overall energy, it feels like it's the Seven of Cups. It is, well, it shows the Seven of Cups, and there's, it kind of feels like there's like a cloudedness. I mean, it seems to be like reminiscent of traditional card imagery, but um, it seems like this mermaid is kind of clouded in the thoughts because it's like, where do I go from here type of feeling. That's the, like, energetically, it's like, well, if this isn't here, then I don't know, do I even continue with this? But I feel like the Emperor's like a big validation, even the star too, that is here. Um, and I didn't talk about the world, but um, there's something, it looks like it's rooted because sometimes like they have the world tree and or something like maybe you were doing something in the past. Like I would make videos about tarot in the past or like talking about tarot and now it's coming back in that way. I'm at, I'm just giving an example, but in the past is like the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords just it really does feel like I'm gonna crash out. I feel like it's one of those situations where um you're just kind of maybe tired of life, or maybe like there is so much of an investment that you put into this, and then um now there's like not knowing certain things, and when you don't know certain things, it does interrupt like any type of perception because you're trying to make a decision that's hopefully for your best interest or another person's best interest or combination or what have you. So I'll pull out maybe like another card. Okay. So I don't think I would worry too much about this because you have the Five of Wands and the Major Arcana Justice, which makes me feel like, um, again, with the best interests, after all of this, even if there was uh like a disagreement, like the Five of Wands is part of major, I'm sorry, it's not part of major arcana, it's part of minor arcana, and maybe it is closely linked to justice, major arcana, where it's like it feels like the stepping um like the steps forward that like somebody tried to make were just not it for somebody else. It just seemed like um it almost feels like energy of like you doing something and then somebody is like, excuse me, and it does feel like a little bit of back and forth, but there's something that really settles. I don't know if this is even a saying that like settles the dust, or like I don't even know if it's supposed to be a saying for this one, but there's like a type of thing that really just um brings the situation into something that's more uh I don't want to like maybe professional toned, because there's certain ways of saying something that maybe you can communicate instead of saying something that's more um that could be seen as something that you would that would upset the other person, because you're maybe like it doesn't have to be a work environment, but like if there's an environment uh that is too this way or that way, and you're not trying to make like the situation worse by saying stuff that will instigate or irritate the other person even more. So you're maybe trying to neutralize that energy, and I feel like the Justice card may be in the right place at the right time for that, because it just seems like order in the court type of thing, where like people might be talking amongst themselves, or like things can get really rowdy. And so I think that's like a good thing. And then from this deck, and it's interesting, it's like the gift of liberty after I just said justice. Because liberty and justice like kind of go hand in hand. At least um before, like when I was in school, I feel like you would say liberty and justice. I'm not super aware of those types of things. I'm sorry. But it's the Knight of Swords, and you can see that he's covering his ears, so but he can actually see. And then this one was like um she's covered there, and then partially covered here for the obstacle. So now seeing, and I feel like it could be like the boost of motivation, or that mental clarity. And now like there's so many ideas, it's almost like, when you're thinking about something and then there's just like an influx of all of these things that it could be. That's what it kind of gives in this reading. So I knew it was going to be a long video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was interesting, and I'll see you in another video.